Nothing will give you greater pleasure than to live your life for God's purpose. Now, let me give you a little background to this parable. It's part of the Olivet Discourse, and that's the name given to the orderly and extended teaching given by Jesus Christ on the Mount of Olives. His subject is the end times. And if you want to learn more about the end times from Jesus' perspective, go to Matthew chapter 24 and 25. The record in Matthew is the most extensive compared to Mark chapter 13 and Luke 21. He is talking to his disciples about his return and the impending judgment. And really, in essence, what he's saying is that while we watch and wait for the Lord's return, we are to continue to work faithfully for our Lord. That's kind of the big idea of these two chapters, chapters 24 and 25. There's three parables here. We only looked at the one, the parable of the talents. And what we see in this parable compares and contrasts faithfulness and unbelief, wisdom and folly, preparedness and indifference. I don't know if you noticed this, but at the very end of that parable, the one who had only had one talent, and he has to give an account of his one talent, and he was afraid. In fact, it says that, so I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. The master says that he is foolish and lazy, basically, and he throws him into outer darkness where there's weeping and gnashing of teeth. Kind of a bad ending to a parable, isn't it? I mean, when we read that, it's like, whoa, that's a harsh way to end, but that's reality. And really, he's actually making this contrast between believers and non-believers. This guy's an unbeliever. And so what you see here in this parable, as he's contrasting, the parable compares and contrasts faithfulness and unbelief. Faithfulness of the two, there was one that had 5 talents, the other one had 2 talents, and they went out and used those and actually doubled them. But the one who had the one hid that talent. So that's faithfulness and unbelief, wisdom and folly, preparedness and indifference. So these are the characteristics that separate authentic Christians from unbelievers. So here's an interesting note. There is no half-hearted or lukewarm Christian depicted in any of these parables. You're either a believer and you're going to take what you have been given and use it for God's kingdom, or you're not. Pretty cut and dry.